The truth is, many of us, especially women, try so hard to please. And because of this, we live in a perpetual state of overwhelm, exhaustion, and bitterness because we can't say no. How many of you can relate? Women are more prone to people-pleasing than men. We love to support, help, and be there when others need us. It makes us feel good. It feeds our self-worth. We're there for our families, friends, and colleagues to a point that we have very little time for ourselves. We take on work we don't need or go to events we don't care about. But why? Why do we struggle to say no? Because we fear being judged, being rejected, and being disliked. And sometimes we say yes to avoid disappointing those around us. We start to hide behind an emotional mask. Unlike physical mask, wearing an emotional mask harms us. And yet, so many people are hiding behind it. Many of us are hiding behind who we truly are and who we want to be. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. When I was just 5 years old, I was ashamed of myself, ashamed of who I was. I was brutally beaten by my kindergarten teacher for expressing myself. I had bruises all over my body. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I became desperate to feel safe. And that day, I lost a part of me. That true self, that curious, creative, and playful Lily. And instead, I learned to be someone else. At the age of 10, growing up in Japan as the only Chinese kid, all I wanted to do was to fit in. But that never happened. Instead, I got bullied constantly in elementary school. I felt rejected. I felt like I didn't belong. From that time, everywhere I go, I felt like I was an outsider. More than wanting to fit in, I wanted to please my mother. I needed her approval, her validation. I wanted to know that I was good enough for her love. But when I didn't get good grades, I couldn't face her. I would hide my report card underneath the bed, fearing to disappoint my mother. I learned to be hard on myself. When I was 15, it got worse. What is worse than physical bullying? Cyberbullying. Cyberbullying was another level of pain I've never felt in my life. I got messages that said, "You're stupid. You're ugly. Nobody likes you." And as a teenager, I believed them. Those words were stuck in my head. I felt like my heart was being squeezed so tight I could barely breathe. I was in pain. I couldn't stop crying for weeks. I needed help. My mask was eating me alive. From then on, I did whatever I could to avoid the pain, that pain of being disliked. I kept on seeking acceptance and approval. I even started posting photos of myself showing my cleavage on social media just to get the external validation, chasing that like button to feed my own insecurity. I became desperate and craved validation, that I was liked, that I was enough, or that I was nice. The truth is, wanting to be liked by others was my symptoms of my own desire to be in control, because deep down, I felt powerless and worthless. I woke up one day not knowing who I was. I had a crisis, an identity crisis. I was emotionally bankrupt. My self-esteem, self-worth, self-respect were all bankrupt as a result of people-pleasing. People-pleasing got me the life I never wanted. I said to myself, enough was enough. I realized that constantly betraying myself is suicide. Why? By avoiding to betray others, I betrayed myself. And this is the ultimate form of betrayal. People-pleasing goes beyond just kindness. It involves bending my values for the sake of someone else's feeling. And by trying to earn acceptance of others, I lost myself in the process. I decided that if I can't get the validation from others, I'm going to give myself the validation I deserve and approve myself. At that moment, something shifted. I started treating myself like my own best friend. I started to talk to myself like I would talk to my best friend. And every time I say something hurtful or demeaning, I would pause and ask myself, would I say that to my best friend? And if the answer is no, I cancel that thought immediately. And guess what? It started working. That validation and approval I've always craved for, I gave that to myself. This is self-love. What kind of relationship do you have with yourself? Yes, it is a relationship. In fact, it is the most important relationship you will ever have. We have to face ourselves in the mirror every single day until we die. So let's make a great one. But self-love is not just a feeling. It is an ongoing action. Let me share with you some of the ways you can practice self-love. Your greatest responsibility for self-love is to know that you are enough. Keep an I am good enough journal and add it to it daily. Be persistent, because few words repeated daily becomes a belief. And take a note every time you're hard on yourself. We all have those moments. It's okay. When you are, treat yourself like your own best friend. Set clear boundary for you. Daring to set boundary is about having the courage to love yourself, even when we risk disappointing others. Your time and energy are precious. So stand for your value, your heart, and your life. Assign one day. I made Saturday my self-care day. Nothing is on that calendar that day. Practice saying no without guilt. This will give you freedom. Freedom to go on a date with yourself. Discover what makes you feel alive and joyful. Go lunch, have a beautiful walk. Whatever it is, give that attention, support, and love to you. But more important than this is your mindset. When you say yes to anything, you're saying no to something else. So next time, before you say yes, pause and ask yourself, If I'm saying yes to this, what am I saying no to? Start saying yes to you. When you say no to something you don't want to do, you say yes to you. When you turn off your social media and go on a date with yourself, you say yes to you. When you say no to comparing yourself to others, you say yes to you. Say yes to you. It took some time, but I realized that in order to have the courage to say no, I have to love myself first. I finally took off my mask and started creating more fulfilling life with self-love. And now that my mask is gone, I'm still on a journey to find who Lily was. That playful, curious, and creative side that I lost when I was 5 years old. So I invite you to put you first. Putting your own needs first is not selfish. In fact, you will show up more fulfilled, replenished, and more love for others. Remember, if we don't take care of ourselves first, we won't be able to do anything for anyone else. You, yourself, as much as anyone in this universe, deserve your love. Give that to you. Start saying yes to you now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Thank you.